welcome to the Life Career Roadmap YouTube channel, episode number 14 with my dearest friend, Eunice Sari. So welcome, Eunice, to the Life Career Roadmap.
Welcome. Thank you, Cema. Thank you for having me today in your very famous a podcast.
A videocast.
Oh, videocast. Yeah.
Thank you, Eunice. So, Eunice, normally what I ask my guests is for them to introduce themselves with this question, the two questions. One, where you come from, and also what's your professional background. So these two little questions, we start with them, and then as we go, learning more about you.
Okay, I was born in Indonesia, and I left Indonesia when I was 20 years old and for studying overseas. And I haven't come back yet to Indonesia in terms of living in Indonesia, but then I always go back to Indonesia every 2 months for my work.
Yes. So let's come back to your name, because I know your name has some tricks in there, right? So I call you in my language as Eunice. So, and then you told me a story about your name that I was fascinated about. Could you explain to us about your name?
Yeah, well, that's like a bitter and sweet experience about my name. Yeah, because I was given a name by a friend of my parents, and he was a minister, and he said this is a very good name for your first daughter. And they believed that. They did not really know what it meant, and I have to find out myself when I grew up, because I want to know why I was given that name. But my parents really look up into this minister, and then yeah, we just believe that he's doing the right thing. And then I live with that name, so I was called Annie, because it was too difficult to spell, so they just use Euni. So they just use Annie because that's very common in Indonesia. And then when it comes to name, people call me Eunika or Eunice. I don't know why it comes to Eunice. But as I grew up, I live in different countries, I become connected. For example, I used to live in Singapore, and there are so many Eunices. And there's I feel that I probably I have a heritage of being a Singaporean. And then I work because of my work, I travel to US quite often. Working in the digital industry, doing design, research, and consulting in the IT and product and services. So when I was in US, so people love my name because they feel connected to me. And those people are Brazilian, surprisingly. And they think oh, ding. And then they say why? Because I act like Brazilians, and then I act and my name, they say it's very common, to, in Brazil. But then they change it a little bit into Eunice.
That's right.
And yeah, so it's I love this thing. Another thing is when I'm traveling, they ask my name, and they always say, "You are a prophet." Oh, how come? Because that name is very famous. Especially people from the Middle East, they call my name Eunice. Eunice. So they call it that's one of the prophet is eaten by the big fish. I'm really okay, well, that's interesting. But then I found out myself my name is the mother of the one of the very important writer in the Bible, Timothy, and it's what is important, even though it was only written once. Somebody who is really thinking about their children, helping these children to grow into somebody who is really loving and giving themselves to the community. And I see maybe one day if I become a mom, I would be somebody who is like that. And that's like along the journey, I also met a lot of people from Greece, and they say well, this is a very common name here. And then it's and I'm starting to find out from the mythology, because yeah, well, it's coming from the Bible,
Yeah.
but then it's having like a different meaning as well. It's one of the goddess or something related to water, and then it means like a ongoing victory in your life. So actually,
Wow.
all that's really okay. Well, actually, the hunts that my mom and my dad giving me that name, it's actually right. Even though they did not know what it meant, I'm building myself from these different pieces, what Eunice means, and then make myself a really nice mosaic picture from a different culture.
That's so wonderful. That you're multicultural.
Very cultural.
So, Eunice, and let's go back to Indonesia. Which part of Indonesia are you from?
Do you know Java Island?
Yes.
Yeah, Java got the east, west, and the one in the middle that is often neglected because people just go from west to east. So I was born there.
Oh, and growing up there in Java, so
Mm.
what made you to decide to go and work in with tech related in a tech related field? Was your first option? Did you know about this world, or was something that came as you got older and getting to know more about the world around you?
I think the last one, because I had no idea about tech. My world was just so limited, and a girls doesn't really touch tech in my generation. So I moved to a small city, which is really like a cultural city,
Mhm.
where I did my university there, and I had an opportunity to go to Japan. So when
Mm.
I was in Japan, I was so interested because I was studying language in uh in those city to become a language teacher.
Mhm.
So I I went to Japan and then helping a professor there, teaching English as a second language. And when I was there, I got so much immersed with the use of technology, how the technology could help this shy group of students, and they become really talkative, and then they can acquire English language in a very short time because of the help of the technology. But the teacher himself is never push the girls and the boys in that class to use the technology. He just okay, let's do it naturally, how you talk to each other on this kind of tool. And that's actually make me well, if I've been teaching a lot of kids to learn how to use to use English as a second language, but it's so hard because they have to memorize. And now they just do things authentically, and then they could learn fluently without being worried that something will come to you. So why not? So I did more study on that, and that's it grows it goes to different direction because there was no direct connection from
Mhm.
language to tech, right? Because once you learn language, it's you are put in the box that you have to learn language the whole of your life. And if you're still doing STEM, and then you can continue doing STEM and then go to technology. So for many years, between my time I graduated until I got my master, it took a couple of years. It was just looking for a place where I can actually be myself with a background in a social science to go into the technology or STEM. My high school was in STEM, but then I moved to language. But then I
Mhm.
want to move there, so that is how we actually find this transition. And I did that when I found a one university in Denmark that actually needs interdisciplinary people, how they can actually put tech as a center where human as a center, how we can adopt the technology. So that's how I become the way I am now.
So in this case, so you went to Japan, was your first experience and immersion in the tech world, but in a very friendly way. So, and then coming back to Indonesia, or from there you went straight to another country to do another course. The course. What did you do? What was your thought at that moment in your life?
Oh, you mean from Japan?
Yes.
Okay. From Japan, I went back because I got married when I was at the university.
So you had to come back to do your wife duties.
No, because yeah, anyway, what it's
Okay.
like I did not meet my husband by the way at that time, but I have to finish my university, and then I started a company back home because I thought, well, there has not been anybody doing like the like the middle part between like the tech and then the social science, which we now know as a human computer interaction
Yes.
or user experience. There are not many people doing that. And I have to start something introducing this because if we just continue developing technology, but without thinking about the human who will be using this technology, the technology will go somehow just become a technology. It's not going to be friendly. It's not going to be understanding what we
Mhm.
as a human uh, needs and how we can actually meet that with the technology that we develop. So that's where I started. That's when I started, like at the company on a human computer interaction as the first company ever in, like in Indonesia and Southeast Asia. Yeah.
So since that like young lady, you had this vision what you could do with what you learned.
Mm,
So and then having your company as soon as you finish your under degree. So
mm,
what motivates you then to go and get the master's? And where did you do your master's? You said you have traveled so
mm.
many places. So give us some trajectory where you have been.
Oh, yes. Like when I came back and then trying to see this into Indonesian market,
Mhm.
people just, oh, we don't really need it. We don't want to know about it. We don't, it's something that is beyond their understanding. Sometimes like because they don't see it, right?
Yes.
And then I started to think like doing some of my research. There must be something here. Like I need to find out what.
Mhm.
And I saw there are a lot of things going on, especially in US and then also in Scandinavia.
Mm.
And I would feel, like a human computer interaction started like from those area, especially from US. But what I really like even though in Scandinavia there are also a lot of area, this area is started being developed. There's something that make me feel stronger, more connected into Scandinavian way of thinking about this computer human interaction thing because it is closely related to the social science that I have. They are trying to include people in the process of designing something.
Mhm.
Yeah. For example, if you are in the office, government office, for example, they do what they call as a consultation, and they will bring people, and then people can give their feedback, and they took their feedback seriously, and then put that feedback into the like the design, so people can see their foothold, they can see their footsteps, they can see their DNA into the product that they develop. And
Mhm.
actually, it got a lot of buy-in, a lot of from different stakeholders. It's not just like, okay, I will have a solution. Everybody can have like all solution. Of course, they have to make a decision. What solution? What is the best? But people can still see, oh, people hear me. I'm like a nobody, but people hear me. So the design that I'm using now is something that, like I have been part of this development. So that is like, okay, I need to do something. And it happens that my husband was doing something similar. And then, okay, this is a good thing. And then we explore a lot of project together in in that sphere, and then and I choose to go to Denmark because I think that's like the only hope I have to go like
To continue it.
to go to like to go to a different side of the river. And it was true. I really enjoyed it. After that years, there were so many other other schools that provides the similar thing, but this one, like the one that I went, was like the pioneer in this area.
Okay. And then when did you decide to come to Australia? What you are attracted to come to Australia? Because another question, did you do your PhD here in Australia?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
That's the hook. Where you come, when did you decide to come to Australia and to do your PhD? What attracted you to be here and working in this field in Australia?
Oh, well, I did. I was looking for PhD. I love research. I was looking for PhD anywhere in the world. I started doing that in Finland. But it did not work as it was expected. I had to go home and then make money for my living, and I ended up in Singapore. So it was very devastating because I want to do my PhD. That's like kind of like a goal of my life by that time. And then it's like as my English is my second language, even though I learn language, it's not good enough because I still have accent. I still have it's not the native speaker. So I had a difficulties to go to different, places, and especially my background as well is not STEM. So it was difficult for me to go to something that is interdisciplinary. So because everything has to be linear. And so I went I met my I met somebody who used to be my collaborator, and then he said like, why don't you come here to Australia? I had no idea what Australia was, and just let's go. How it I have zero knowledge about Australia, and I did not try to know what it was as well. I only knew that a lot of Australia came to Indonesia, and I was one of the mentors to teach them how to speak Bahasa and to learn languages when the culture when I was back home before. So it was a competitive scholarship. I said like, if it is my way to go, then the road will open for me. I got scholarship. So it would pay me, but it was a big decision because I had to choose whether to go back to study with unknown future, or going back to Indonesia and become a principal of a international school. So it's a big decision, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I just had my second daughter at that time, and so I said like, the next things that I want to see is like, if I got accepted, now that I got scholarship, then the next thing would be like the visa. And I heard that it was so difficult for people to get a visa going to Australia from Indonesia at that period of time. So I did not hope anything. I was just like, my hope. I only said to the school here, if I don't get a visa, what do I have to do? Can I defer my study? Yeah, you can defer like for half a year or something like that. Okay, that's okay. Then I put myself into visa with no hope. And it got accepted in 2 days. So I think that was a sign, right? It's really a sign. Everything just put into place. And then I went and I came to Australia. I had no idea what I expect. I had no idea what to do. I don't know anything basically, and just landed in the cold Western Australia, and that's it. On like the day after my anniversary.
Yes. So you have been in Australia since 2008, is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So when you started your PhD at Curtin, no, at Cowan.
At the
right?
Cowan University, yeah.
Yes. So, and tell me then, how was for you all these transitions? Because you transitioned first as a young student to Japan to learn, but you knew that you would come back home. Then you went to Denmark, and then like coming back home, but to Malaysia to make money, to make your
To Singapore. Yeah, sorry. I went to
Singapore. Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
And then you went to, and then decided to come to Australia, and it says starting everything again. So how was for you all these transitions, and which of part of this transition was the most difficult for you in terms of migration?
It's actually like looking for a job, and because like as a person who are new to country, like I'm easily like adapted to a new culture, and that's me. I can understand people easily and then learn from them and how to do things. But um, I think the most difficult is like to get a job for you, like to hold like to ensure that you meet the end. Uh, that was sometimes it was difficult. Like, are you talking about just Australia
No, it's about
or
anywhere.
anywhere? Yeah, yeah. It's always like a different reasons of my language. I don't speak uh, Finnish. I don't speak Danish. I don't speak German. My German is not very good. And also my Japanese, I'm not Japanese enough. And then and then also a lot of things that I don't have a special visa. No, this thing like always like a different reasons. Like although people are very nice, I got many friends around the world, but then it is finding a job that where people can really like comfortably give it to you without asking who you are. It took a long time for me. Yeah.
So, and how did you overcome that obstacle of finding a job in your field? Because you came to Australia, you stayed here, you complete your PhD, and there are many newcomers coming to this country to do their studies, and they get also the roadblock that they cannot work in their fields, mainly because of the workload that they have. So they cannot work full time. They have like everything is so different in their let's say curriculum to study. So sometimes they study between Tuesday and Thursday, and they have only on Monday and Friday. So and probably the employer requires them to work full time, and they cannot get a job because also they can work only 24 hours now from July in a job yes. So how did you overcome these obstacles as being a student, being a newcomer, and getting the job in your field? Did you get the job in your field, or you had to go to work in something else to be able to make the means to live in Australia?
I would be honest to you, like Australia is the best place for me to find a job. Like when I came here, like I got the job from the day maybe the first month. It was like I never like I had like 2-3 jobs like since the first couple of months I became like a student. Um, it was very interesting because what I found is like my goal coming to Australia was not for working because my goal to come to Australia was to study. That is the thing that I hold so, like that I hold so dearly, like having a clear goal, what I want to do. I mean, like I know that payment here is probably much better compared to other countries, compared to my country at that time. But if I got slightly distracted in my journey, then I will just like, I will take this job and take just the job. So I was really strategic in looking for the job that would build me or will make me tired. That's I think that the decision that I did. I know that I came here with a scholarship. So if I don't do like happy thing like a like a go to drink every day or going to sightseeing every day, then now it would be enough to meet the needs of four of us, right?
Yeah.
And that's like we just live like a very modestly that. And then because of the things that I'm doing, I'm really focused on what I do, and I thought I was doing good, right? because
Mhm.
because of what I was doing, like because then the people starting to offer me job. They said, "Can you?" I did not go anywhere. I was just like my jobs like at the university. Uh, it's like mostly like helping as a research assistant, and then doing all this thing like as a student. And they say like okay, can you help me on this? Okay, well I do that. Like I still prioritize my study. I focus
Mhm.
on what I need to do. I ask the employer like what is the expectation? Does it have to be finished now or it can be more flexible? And I got a flexibility, and they know because I'm a student, international student, so I have a something that I have to deliver because I can't just defer my study whatever I
Yeah,
want.
a commitment.
Then commitment, yeah, that's my commitment here. So I did that, and it went really well. Like, and they give me like, why don't you do this? Why don't you add like so? Sometimes I got two, three other jobs, like in the same time, and it's and then people just like giving me job. So I think it's the power of like a, like a you make the community trusted you, and then it's like a people will just refer you to another job, one job to another, and lead you to another thing, something bigger. And I also think like, okay, if I don't get a job, that's okay at the moment because I still got paid by my PhD, and then maybe my PhD will make me, it will become a job for me in the future. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my PhD research as a job at this point of time.
Yes, and that it is a job, right? Because it's
Mm,
a job to do the PhD. You need to complete the 8 hours that they give you,
mm,
do everything, to research, to do your protocols that you need to do, and literature review, everything
mm.
that you need to treat as a job.
Yes, and even like when I finished my PhD, because I was really focused on what I'm doing, but so they give me like awards for different awards from the work that I'm doing, and then because of that, like people started, oh, after my PhD, I said like I was looking, oh, what job should I do? No, like my PhD research become a real job for me.
Okay.
The what I'm doing now for example, training, teaching people, what I teach people is something that I learned when I was in my PhD.
Mhm.
So sometimes like what I found like in the previous year before I came to Australia, I was always like a rush into looking for a job and blah blah blah. If my purpose, say for example, I came to one country with my husband and we really had to discuss like what is the main purpose I'm here? Like, okay, his main purpose is, for example, for working, then I have less flexibility. Sorry, if he's working, then then I have more flexibility to do what I want. So I maybe spend time to learn language and like doing a bit of job. So I don't really stress. If my purpose is to do a study, then he will find a job. So that's how like we manage. So we don't just rush looking for random job
Mhm.
uh for no goal or no purpose. I think that's how we manage.
So that's one of the questions that you asked. How did you plan coming to Australia, and like, and also different countries? Because coming to Australia, you had two daughters,
Mm,
and having a PhD with two daughters, you know, it's something, right? It's a, like, not double but triple journey that you have to.
yeah.
And you guys planned what the priority was, if you want to study and would work, and the other one
Mm,
work and the other one study. Yes. And you said before that Australia was the easiest place to find a job,
mm,
because you had clear vision what you'd be able to do. And what was the most difficult situation for you finding a job in other countries? So which country was more difficult for you, and what you perceived as a roadblock at that point in life?
Probably in countries where I don't speak the language,
Mm-hmm.
and like the homogeneous country where
Mm-hmm.
mostly of the people living there are like from the same, people
Right.
heritage. Yeah, but I think things have like a changed slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Even like in Australia, I don't say that it is easy to find a job. Like when I graduate from university, that was the real time to prove that whether I would be able to get a job or not, right? So um so what happened is like I wanted to like for me, uh the first job that I want to do was to be at the university. But at that time, the rules and everything, yeah, as a university lecturer, but the rules at that time, it was so inflexible,
Mm-hmm.
very different from now, that you cannot just leave like without getting a certain level of academic, like a job level, then you can stay here. So it was very difficult after you graduate to get a job, which is very different from now. You graduate from, like a master, you get more time to explore, and it's a lot of flexibility right now. Like a heaven, in my opinion. So again, like I try to like throw away my CV to so many people, and it like brought me zero result.
Mm-hmm.
So one, I think like I always believe that there if I have to work, yeah, I have to stay, then I have to work. I mean, like there must be something for me, right? Like that is something that I always believe,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like I again like I apply the same principle. What do I want to do in my life? Right? What do I want to do in my life? So I was very specific. I want this job with this amount of money and with this kind of, like uh, uh, what is it, like a responsibility, the type of activity I want, which when you read it, it's almost impossible for you to get that kind of job. But I say like it, I need to set my expectation at some level because I don't want to be, like oh, actually, I don't really get the job, but I like the money. No, I don't like that kind of attitude, right?
Yeah.
I want to be clear, crystal clear what kind of job I want to do in that specific time of my life. And I did that. And because I knew about that, so I wrote my CV like to fit the purpose of the dream job because I think I should have the rights to have a dream. I should have the rights to have a big dream. It doesn't matter whether I'm Australian, non-Australian, I'm immigrant, I'm women, I don't care. I have the rights to have a dream. So that's what I did. And I searched on Seek, this kind of job with this amount of money in here. What is the type of activity? And I found one, just one.
Just of course, you were so to the point.
And I found just one job. And I was like, oh, if I don't get it, I'm going home.
And did you get it?
Yes, I got that job.
Of course, you are here.
I got that job. That job actually brought me to become a permanent resident as well. So
Wonderful. So, it's very inspiring when you say this because what I say to my newcomers, my mentees, and probably your mentees that when we were working together at Kaleidoscope, it's something that when we go together for a goal setting, I tell them why you want to do a goal that is below your qualifications and what you want in life. Oh, but if I do everything that I want, I will narrow down so much, so I don't have many options. I said, but why do you want many options? Why do you want to plan A, B, and C and wasting your time thinking about what can go wrong, when you can think about everything that is possible with what you want? And then
Yes.
put your intention there. But it's not just the intention. You need to know the actions that you need to take to
Yeah.
be able to be there. And then when I teach my newcomers to set their goals, sometimes when they look at me, they don't believe that it's possible. And I go through another exercise, helping them to visualize what is possible for them. And they get it. And they say, well, when I went to the program, I didn't think about myself this way. I thought, once I heard one electrical engineer, a woman, she said, Cema, I never expect in my whole life to earn what I'm earning right now. And it took me 6 years to come to you. And in less than a year, I'm earning much more than I earned my whole life working as an engineer. People don't really believe in themselves. For some point in life, we leave that belief away, and we things away and think, especially coming to a new country that is a first world country. You come here as a newcomer to be part of that, not to be a second-class citizen. You come to be the first-class citizen. But if you let things put you down and you don't believe that it's possible, you just treat yourself as a second-class citizen, nobody else but yourself.
Yeah, totally agree.
As you see, so that's the work that I do all the time, and I talk a lot about this, and many people don't believe it, right? So they say, oh, it's just a dream. Well, if you believe it's just a dream, it's not for you then. You dream of something else. And I know that you are very well connected. And as you mentioned before in the beginning, you get very easy with people, and you are a connector, and you are a networker, and you put things together, events together, and you bring people along. So I'm amazed by your skills or networking skills, and I love being with you in this kind of events because the atmosphere is so nice. So tell me more, how did you polish your networking skills to become who you are? Because as you said, you had this before, it's easy for you, but how you became the woman that represents Google?
Well, thing I represent not just Google, I represent a lot of organization. And I think I've got to give a fair share for everybody.
Okay, let's rephrase this. Eunice, how do you became the woman that represents many organizations, including Google? Is it better?
Yeah. Well, sorry, I think whether it is something that is belong to me or it is something that I learn, I sometimes still finding it I need to find out. As you mentioned about connector, well, I really thank you, Cema, for such a help for me. In a lot of events that we're doing, I can't do it without you. So it's amazing. Thank you so much. And then, what happened is that okay, let me have a little bit of thinking. Okay, when I agree with what you said before, people do not have dream, right? And I was somebody who had no confidence that I could have a dream. I was one of the person you were talking about. It's I was so quiet. I don't know what to say. And I know sometimes I know this is my chance, but I see with my own eyes, well, not my eyes, but my eyes. I see with my own eyes.
Pass in front of you, like the opportunities pass in front of you. You don't have anything to do with that.
Yes, I was and it's happened so many times. I let go so many opportunity in front of me. So I was just thinking, well, I mean, what is like I have nothing to lose. If people doesn't know what I'm talking about, then I will repeat it. What's wrong with that? I will repeat like maybe 100 times if they don't understand my English, and I will just let them know. If they don't want to hear, if they have to go, it's not my fault. So I'm always like a prepare for the worst, like to happen to me, and then starting to think. I learned from a lot of people here, like a lot of people, not just here, but a lot of people who speak English as a second language. They are very good in their English, but sometimes it's not always like their idea are the best. Sometimes
Mhm.
like they got ideas from us too, like maybe our idea is much better or something like that. They, what is the most important is like number one is like I need to know how to articulate my ideas.
Mhm.
So I learned so much how to articulate my ideas, and I learned so much to, from a lot of failures. I'm still learning. Like if I talk, sometimes like I repeat so many words that, or I don't know what is the best English expression on that. But that's okay. It's work in progress. But I always think nothing. I have nothing to lose
Mhm.
with my position right now. uh, the stake is getting higher. If I say something wrong, then it will sounds like it will affect a lot of things. But I learn to prepare as much as I can. So that's what I do. Learning, preparing. I even like learn how to talk to people. I learn how to moderate. I learn how to, to talk in front of camera because I hated my own voice. I hated my own face. So I hated everything.
Everything. You had to make yourself like, well, let's be friends then, then enemies.
Yes, I hated a lot of things, so I have to force myself to listen to my. But now I like it. Like I like,
Ah, that's interesting.
which is good, and that's a lot of practice. And I went to a lot of event, and I put myself forward. Yeah,
Yeah,
and put myself forward, and people sometimes just go. People sometimes like surprisingly welcome you. So focus on what is like the good thing and learn from what is wrong. And yeah, that's how we can grow, I think.
that's right. And practice, right? So, in practice and improving, practicing,
Mm,
improving, like debrief what you have done, what I have done, how can I improve? And
yep.
Monday I just had one of the networking sessions, and I say the same. It's practice as everything in life.
Oh,
You,
yes.
you are not born knowing everything. It's a everyday practice, but you don't see as it. So,
Yes.
Eunice, you got the job that gave you, not gave you, but facilitated your residency permanence, so your being a resident permanent in Australia.
Mm.
Now you run your own company in not just in Australia. Tell us more about it and what is your company and who you are helping.
Yes, my company started, like a long time ago in Indonesia, and I found out my identity. So basically, my company is um how would I say that? There are three things that we help uh, other people, like to improve their capability, their professional capability, especially in the field of user experience, product design and strategy, education, and like like a business leadership. All these things I provided to the company and organization so they can like build their own stuff, and also help them to build their own team within the company so they
Mhm.
can like become influential for other people as well. But like I also like in terms of education, I also helping university or training organization to build their curriculum, to build their learning material. I'm also having an instructional design
Mhm.
background, so I help like to build material so it looks nice and looks interactive for people to learn. And then also I do building uh like trying to understand what is their problem. People coming to me, they usually come with problems, and I'm trying to find out what is the root cause of their problems. And then
Mhm.
together with them, I remember I mentioned about the principal from the Scandinavia.
Yes.
I work with them, looking what is the best way, the solution. So my work is we have to look at the different perspectives from the psychology, technical, um, like a social, culture, and all the other aspect, business, management, financial,
Mhm.
to find the best solution for the clients.
Yes.
And this because of this work, even though when I say like I'm working in the UX, people think I'm just developing an app or website. That's actually only one part of the 100 things that I'm doing in my life. And uh, yeah, so there are the work allows me to help basically anyone in the world. And because I always take any opportunity to help people, so it brings me opens brings me to a lot of opportunity to helping organization around the world
Mhm.
in those area. And also right now in Australia we have a similar company as well called Customer Experience Insight, as you can see at the back of my
Yes.
and and this company actually doing quite the same as what we do in UX Indonesia. The only difference is uh, we are supporting the Australian company who are interested going to Indonesia, and Indonesian company interested going to Australia. You
Mhm.
remember, if you say, for example, I have an app for ordering food here in
Mhm.
Indonesia, I from Indonesia and then I bring it to Australia, it's not going to work,
Mhm.
even though we all order the same food, right?
Mhm.
So that's why we save a lot of organization millions of money because of doing this customization, contextualization.
Specifically for
Yes,
the.
specifically for the market. Yeah, so that's basically what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm very passionate actually to help immigrants here in Australia to really understand how to build their own business, their startups, so they can actually be successful, either their own startup or they can help their community to build that that skill, and then the community also build their entrepreneurial skill. Because what I always often find is a lot of the people newcomers here oh, give me a job. I mean,
Yes.
people do not always give us a job. I was in a good position that I could get a job easily, but that's not the case for most of the people. So the mindset that I had uh, was how we can create a job for ourselves. If people does not accept us the way we look, the way we behave, and so on, and then we just look what is the needs of the market, and then how we can create something, take that opportunity to create something that can fill the gap in the market. And that is something that I found it really unexplored, especially in starting their own business, starting their own startup. Even though I knew, I talked to many people and they got so many ideas that can be beneficial for their own community here, or they can be beneficial for the larger community in Western Australia or in Australia.
Mhm. That's correct. And especially um, having this vision of what you can do, what is the possibility, especially also because newcomers, we have a different perspective, and maybe we see things that are gaps in the new country that we can offer,
Yes.
with the knowledge that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had met you in 2015, 16, when I was in 17, 18, when I was running the Immigrant Business Networking Association, because
Mm,
it was exactly that, helping newcomers to understand the Australian culture, to be able to run their businesses in a way that they could provide more services and be connected, and not just
mm,
selling a service or product, but being connected. And it was amazing because I love it. And this is one of my passions, helping newcomers in businesses to
Oh, great.
understand the current situation and the clients, because putting a business together is like that, but getting the clients, not just to buy once, but come and seeing you as someone they trust, someone they like to be, and someone that they want to consume their products.
Yeah.
And I always say that for me, going to the markets, the farmer markets, it's so rewarding because my mom, when my father passed away, I was 3 years old, and she had a store in the market. And for me, it's a very fond memory. And I go there because I know people are doing their best. And I like to nurture the relationship. So I know all their food stalls there. I like to go. They know me, they call by my name, or not my name, by nickname, like the barbecue queen, right? They say, "Oh, hello, barbecue queen." So for me, they know the products that I like. They save the products for me. I can order things in anticipation. So it's a relationship. It's not just buying products, right?
Exactly. That's
I
so
love that.
true.
I love the interaction. So,
Yeah.
Eunice, and how was for your family to migrate with you to different places, and especially for your little kids, because they had to see mom go to school as working, and how was for them, and how they are now in Australia, how they feel in Australia.
Yeah. So as a children, it is like to have a parents that move to one place to another place at certain age. It's
Mhm,
exciting.
mhm.
Like I've been here, but the thing is like I've been here in Australia for 15 years. I haven't moved anywhere. I'm always here. The only thing is like the only difference is like I travel before COVID. I travel every week, so that's the only thing. But they love it. They enjoyed it. Like until their teacher saying you cannot travel anymore during the school day.
You need to go, mom. You need to go.
And it's like oh, if they have to go, then they need to like get a like get a special like a place where they can stay, and it's like because we have to work, right? And yeah, well, I mean, we manage with that one. But this my other daughter who in the first year of her life, like maybe about 6 or 7, yeah, it's about 6 or 7, oh well, 6 years of her life, um she traveled to me, and we've been like every year we move to either move country, move states, move every year. So I think she moved like 15 times before that, and every year or every half a year. So he got used to it. I mean like it's always like when you are not too big, you are at under certain age it was quite easy, but when you at like maybe secondary school that becomes so complex, and yeah, it's not good to move a lot like after the kids already like a big, but they are not big enough to live on their own.
Yeah. And is your husband from the tech as well, or he has a different background than yours?
He's from the tech. He's more tech and more businessy than me. I'm more like I'm a tech, but I'm more on the design part, and he's on the business and the tech, nerd tech.
Okay, so the nerd tech. Wonderful. So I have my few questions to you. One is you giving a suggestion or an advice for people that are outside of Australia, but thinking of coming to Australia, to migrate to Australia. What advice would you give them before they come to Australia?
No, in terms of what? There are so many advice I can do.
Yeah, you like
Oh,
if they want to come, what would you suggest them to do before they come or prepared for?
hmm. Okay. Well, I've been living here too long, so I don't know. Or maybe, mm, oh, maybe get ready for a couple of months, like not having a job, so having enough money to survive.
Yeah, we support you.
Yeah, and then once you are here, because if the people asking me usually like people from the same area or the same country, And now would just prepare them that the life here, even though we have a lot of people from our country, it's a bit difficult. There are more strict, more rules and more laws to understand. And yeah, so I think, um, yeah, I mean, like I always share what was my experience, especially in terms of jobs. If they're looking for a jobs, do not rely so much for external to help you, especially if you are new.
Mhm.
Maybe get ready to humble yourself to start from the scratch, and then have the Australian qualification or
Yeah.
the Australian qualification or Australian experience, because I got my PhD, which is in Australia. It's a AQF 10. I was once told that if you want to become a manager, then you need to have AQF 4, which is wait a second, I already AQF 10. Why do I have to do AQF 4? Well, that's the thing that you have to do here. So I did my AQF 4, and there's well, it was going back, but I
Yeah.
did it.
All the
Even though I didn't,
requirements.
yeah, I did not get a job, but it's being able to being able to humble yourself, and then to relearn what you usually do. It makes you survive in the new environment.
Yeah, this was your skills and assessment. It's no training assessment that you
Mm.
did as a Q4.
AQF is Australian qualification framework. So if
Yeah.
you're a peers, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
So, and for someone who is here in Australia, and a newcomer, and is still struggling to find their feet,
Mm.
what suggestion or advice would you give them to help them to move on or to find their feet?
Okay, there are a couple of things that I would suggest this person to do, right?
Mhm.
Find a community that is different from you, right? And identify what kind of job you want to do, and then join that community, right? So, for example, my background is in a digital marketing, for example, but I always to join people from the same country who are not really talking about digital marketing. But when I go to a community with the digital marketing, I don't know anyone. Just bring yourself out, nothing to lose, and then talk to them, trying to understand them. People coming to the event, they usually a very open and very generous, telling their experience. And then and then maybe if you are not tight in the budget, maybe volunteer yourself, a 1 day or a couple of hours a week, just to get the experience, because it will help you to have your foot into the industry and learn, right? Maybe you will think, well, I used to be a director, why do I have to be intern right now? Well, that's a thing that you have to take off from your mindset. I I work as anything, basically, still within the limit of the ethical job, right? As
Mhm.
long as it is ethical and it is within something that you want to achieve in your life, then do it. Basically, when I'm talking about career, I'm talking about paving a
Mhm.
a picture about your life, what is the ideal thing you want to do,
Mhm.
and don't try to undersell yourself. Don't try to, but take any opportunity that will help you to build, like a Lego, to make it into something big.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, and my last question to you is about food. You have given me so many suggestions about good food in this city. So, but I want to ask you, what food or dish that you miss from Indonesia that you probably cannot find here, or you have to make it, but when you eat, you say, "Oh, it's home."
Not nothing.
Mommy, you have everything here. You don't miss anything.
No, not really. I have everything here. That's the good thing about Perth. And if you cannot find it, I can just go to shop and I can find most of the ingredients from here.
So which one
So
is your favorite then?
Mm. Well, you asked the wrong question to the wrong people because my favorite from my country is a bit blurred because I don't really know like what I like. What I like is the mix of the like the Danish thing that is combined with the Finnish thing and then like a Japanese stuff like a surf Japanese. So it was I'm really like a blurred. So
You put everything in a plate and display and say, this is it.
yeah, so I don't have any because for me it's a bit boring just to put something, but like that's me like a probably that's I have become something different, and I have built myself into that like in purpose. I choose what I think will build me, and I become something that makes me unique. I think, in my opinion.
Make you unique, Eunice.
Yeah, Eunice, unique. uh, well, it's not being like to boast myself, but sometimes like it is hard to like what do you like? You miss from Indonesia, or you miss like because no, I don't know.
No,
Sorry, Sema, I can't
it's
answer.
okay. It's okay. So let's go then with dim sum that we have, that you said is very delicious. So I wanna get a chance
Yes,
to get that one.
yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
I really like. I enjoy all kinds of food because foods really talk about like the culture, and I'm like I feel that with food then you will learn about the people. That's what
Mhm.
I would say, and I can recommend you to all good places I've been to. If you
That's a
want.
good one. I take it.
Yes, okay.
So, Eunice, thank you very much for coming to the channel, for sharing your journey as a newcomer, as a professional, and inspiring people to see their goals and dream about what they want in life and taking
Mm.
actions. So, very, very wise words that you gave to them to think about what they want, and you have proved that it's possible to get what you want. So, well done.
Thank you, Sema, for having me. I'm not sure if I can help anything, but yeah, I was just talking from my heart. That's my experience. Confusing, maybe chaotic experience.
Yeah, that's a great thing. So thank you very much.
Thank
And for
you.
you that are you watching this episode, remember to subscribe for the channel. Just or subscribe to the channel. Click on the little bell on top of my or below my photo. I believe I cannot even know what is a bell. Click there, subscribe to get all the notifications about the premieres, and leave your comments below about the conversation today.
Mm,
And see you next. Bye bye.
thank you. Bye bye, Sima.
Bye bye.